rotating.
So like I was saying, Fett, because I found out that we're missing some of the armor pieces, I couldn't put you all together today, so we're going to have to postpone you, if that's okay.
As you wish.
Oh, and by the way, what do you want me to do with this guy?
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Hey everyone, Scooby-Doo here, and welcome to a brand new video. Now today's video is going to be jam-packed with a whole lot of stuff from retro build to new items to some mini reviews on a bunch of different stuff, some paint applications, and a brand new display itself. So let's get started since there's a lot to cover. First, the opening to this video. That was actually originally used for my katana display video that I did. And the reason why I decided to use that one is because we're actually doing the retro build on that katana display. Now, this shelf here, what you're looking at, was the actual shelf for the katana. And although I really love the display with doing all the retro builds, like for instance with our Fett and Leia, and then I also did a separate one for our Luke, and I'm going to do one for Tuna, and then also too I have another shelf that's coming out that is for the Lando and Skiff Guard armor, which is going to be coming out later this year, I think towards the end of December or maybe the 1st of January. Again, that's from Sideshow. So I'm kind of incorporating a lot of different figures, and I felt that the HasLab katana, although freaking awesome, was taking away from all of the figure displays that I've been making for the Tatooine Jabba Fett wall. So that's what we're going to be covering first. So let's see. One of the things that I wanted to do was to add the 1/6 scale Jabba from Sideshow. And I actually been looking at him for quite a while. But the issue with him, one, is the original one was very expensive at the time and also very large. Then the new one that came out, same thing, very, very expensive, very large, and very heavy. And the only shelf I had was this one here to use, and the weight was just too much. The size was too much. This is like a 14.5-inch shelf in depth, and the throne itself was, I think, 15.5. So it wasn't going to fit on the shelf. I would have had to get a brand new shelf. It would have been too big and again too heavy. So I was almost just going to keep the katana because I didn't have any options. And basically what had happened is I was in my garage about 2-3 weeks ago. It was a really windy day. I had the garage door open, and I had a bunch of boxes that got blown over from the wind. They were just empty boxes. They're ones that I'm going to be using when I start selling stuff on eBay. And I had a piece of foam came out of one of the boxes when it fell on the ground. And when I was looking at it, I'm going to grab it right now. Ugh. This was the piece of foam. Sorry, it's taking up the whole camera. Kind of have it out like this. This piece of foam here was one of the pieces for my Thor hammer. You can see the inside part right there. And when I was looking at it, it just kind of almost looked like the size of Jabba's throne. And so I went and quickly measured it because I kind of got excited. I'm like, hey, maybe this might work. And so we're actually going to set this right here. I actually found out that it fit. So I was really excited. I went and then started checking on the older Sideshow Jabba, how big he was, the depth of him, and found out that I could get him because he actually fits right on there like that. I'm going to have to, again, this is really large. So you can see where he fits on there. So it's kind of really, again, really exciting that I was able to go ahead with this project because I really wanted to get the Jabba on the display wall. So there he is. And I guess what we'll do first is I'll do a little bit of review on this Jabba here, and then we'll then talk about his throne. So let me just kind of get some other things set up really quickly. All right, now that we got Jabba set up, again, he is so large. It's hard to get him completely on the camera. So this figure here came out from Sideshow many, many years ago, and he's freaking awesome for what he is, for when he was made. If you're familiar with a lot of other Sideshow 1/6 scale figures that came out years ago as well, at the time they were really great. However, now with the technology and the head sculpts and how everything is made today, still cool, but definitely nothing of the quality, especially like from like Hot Toys, right? They're just making figures like even here on, I'm just going to show you on the Luke right there. You know, that's I believe that's a head sculpt that I just purchased separately because that's kind of part of a kit bash. And if you were to look at some of the older Sideshow Lukes, I mean, again, I'm not going to bash Sideshow for it. I mean, that was just the technology of the time and, you know, whatever. So this Jabba is kind of in that same kind of range. It was good for the time. And then, of course, they came out with the newer version last year. And by the way, this one's kind of made out of like a hard plastic. And the newer one that they made at the end of last year is like a resin kind of statuette kind of figure. Very, you know, you don't, you know, you wouldn't want to do that with the newer one. It would probably crack or break. And I'm not really sure why Sideshow decided to do that, other than Jabba himself is pretty much almost like a quarter scale figure. And I know Sideshow on their quarter scales, lots of times they are like a statue type of figure, but just way too heavy. And it didn't really make much sense and way too expensive. It's nice that they made it, but it would have been nice if they would have just made another version like this and just use all the modern technologies and just kind of make him a little bit more detailed, a little bit better on the coloring. Kind of like with, and I'll just show you really quickly like a comparison. What they could have done is, this is the 6-inch Black Series. Now this color is not as great. It's a different kind of shade, but you can see like with this figure here, like, you know, you could open up his mouth. You know, they could have made a, you know, a newer Jabba. Sideshow could have, where like when you moved his arm a certain way, like you could pose him like this or with his mouth closed or something, instead of doing that whole thing with they have the magnets that changes out the different body parts on the newer one. And again, way too heavy. Just, I'm not sure exactly what's, again, I know what Sideshow was thinking, but they could have just made one like this. So anyway, so this is the older Sideshow. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to detail him out or add some weathering to him or not. I mean, he's kind of cool the way he is. And so, again, I'm not sure if I'm going to change him up at all, but this is him. This is him. And again, if you have a chance to pick him up, I think I paid $150 for him, which is a decent price, which is really actually a great price, $150. And when I was originally starting to collect the Star Wars items, you know, this is kind of hokey, but yeah, again, it's cool. It's definitely cool. So anyway, so when I started collecting at the time, I think these were going for like $400 or $500 because they stopped making them and they were kind of hard to get. And you know, to be honest with you, to get a figure like this, which sometimes you can get plastic figures, just in general, not Star Wars, but just like if you went to Walmart or something, you could get a figure of this size made out of a hard plastic for like $20. And so I didn't really feel paying $400 or $600 when I was first starting to collect that was worth it. I'd rather buy a bunch of Stormtroopers or another Darth Vader figure opposed to spending that much just on this alone. So, but great figure, and I can't wait to get them actually up onto the wall, which brings us up to the next section, which is back with that foam piece. and setting him actually on it and making a throne itself. So we're gonna rearrange some stuff again so I can get stuff to fit, and then we're gonna take a look at his throne. All right, so now we are looking at the foam piece again, and this, I got lucky. I just got lucky because I was really literally hours away from just saying we're gonna stick with the katana, and that was it, because again, the size, the weight, everything else just wasn't working. So when this popped out, it was just kind of like a light bulb went off. And so I decided to go ahead and make this the throne. So what I did was I took, and I'll show you on the other piece because there was two of these. I took this and I converted it to, let me just grab it here. I converted it to this. This is very, very lightweight. It's probably about 30 pounds lighter than the original piece. So what I did is I just took a steak knife, I cut out these grout marks, and then I took a textured spray paint, which is kind of like this, spray painted it, let that dry, then went to my handy tempera paints. I used the black for the grout. And then I actually used a gray as well to kind of soften the edges to the throne. And then I had a kind of a thing about like, how am I going to add his armrest piece? And this was just really lucky to come across this. We'll talk about it just really quickly. When I do builds or when I'm coming up with displays, I search everything Star Wars, and there's literally thousands of things out there that I probably still don't know that they make. And that piece right there comes from this, so I'll kind of have to pick up the camera. It's an Uncle Milton's Jabba the Hutt slime lab. Now, I've used Uncle Milton's before. I've actually used Uncle Milton's. Those are the, you know, those planets I use. Those are the moon in your room. Those are Uncle Milton's moon in your room. I've actually done some other displays years ago using some different stuff from Uncle Milton's. And so, see here, I'm going to show you what it comes with. This is actually everything that comes in the box. The only thing I wanted, of course, was just this piece right here. It's just to make slime, I suppose. It's not really, I think I paid like $11 for it, and it worked out perfectly. I was just like thinking, now of course I don't have the little gargoyle things with the, you know, the rings on them. That I decided not to try to do that. It's just, you know, when this goes up on the shelf itself, it's really not going to be that much of an issue not having those. But yeah, so I went ahead and added that piece. I think I'm gonna probably use some green tempera paint that I have. This part like kind of comes off, and I'm gonna put some water in here, something green in there, just to kind of make it look a little bit better than it is. But then I just glued it. I just hot glued it to the corner of the base right there. So that's his throne. Now, in a couple of spots, I couldn't really cut into it because it's on the back side that's kind of hollow in some areas from where the Thor hammer would sit, but I think it came out really well. And then what's cool about this too is this styrofoam is like, I actually picked spots out and just kind of tore pieces off to make it look like, you know, stone, you know, like pieces of stone that had been like chipped off or broken off. So again, I think it came out really well. And then what I decided to do is I added, you see like where we have the pillows and stuff for the Leia, I just contacted the vendor that I purchased those from and just asked her for some more pillows and a bigger throw piece like this. And so I'll just probably like glue this down as soon as I figure out a good spot for it. And that'll be on there. And then I got a bunch of different pillows that I can just kind of put on here as well. And you can kind of see how things are kind of developing with this throne. And then of course we need a salacious crumb. So like we'd put another pillow like right there, for instance. And then I got this salacious crumb just loose off of eBay. I'll have to position him a certain way. I had him on there really good once, but just here, we'll just not use a pillow right as a second. We'll just kind of sit him there on the edge. This salacious crumb is actually really cool. Again, it was something that when I saw, you know, I know it's just made out of plastic. It didn't really look all that great online, but in person, he looks fantastic. And again, the newer one from the Sideshow, you know, from the new Jabba Sideshow, I've seen reviews where they talk about these things are so thin and delicate that, you know, these pieces just break off. And this being plastic, again, I can just drop it. It's not going to matter. The newer one from Sideshow, if you were to do that, it would be broke. So, yeah, the detail might be better on it, but, and we'll get kind of a little bit closer on it really quickly. I mean, he's really cool. So there's a little kind of mini review on Salacious Crumb. So if we kind of come here and we'll just drop Jabba on here really quickly, and we'll just kind of get a quick look. And we'll just throw some pillows like this or whatever, and so there you go. I mean, again, I'm really happy how it came out. It's going to fit on that shelf. The weight is not going to be an issue at all. And yeah, if you have any questions, you know, regarding any of this stuff, always ask. That's one of the things about my channel, is I try to always respond back to people's comments and questions. So there's that. So our next thing, and by the way, at the end of this video, we're not going to see him up on the wall because there's still, like when I did this paintwork here, I wanted to clear coat everything, you know, with a matte finish, and I ran out of the clear coat to lock everything in really well. So it's kind of got like a half a coat, and so I actually had to order another can, and that's not going to be coming for another couple of days. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and wait and do a separate video just with him up on the wall itself. So the last thing that we are going to cover is, I wanted to use, this is kind of, I wanted to use a playset. That's another thing with my Star Wars walls and my displays, is that I've used the Uncle Milton stuff, and then I've used a lot of 3.75 play sets and vehicles, for that matter. I've used the indoor play set. I've used the Bespin Yoda play set. I've used a Hoth play set. I've used a Tatooine play set, and so I'm kind of excited that I was able to use all the different stuff that I've used over the years, and the fact that this is a retro build, and kind of go through and make kind of like tie everything together. So now for the last time, I'm going to go ahead and remove everything, and we're going to take a look at the Tatooine play set that I picked up, and then we're going to end this video and then wrap everything up. So give me one moment. Alright, so now our last piece, the 3.75 Jabba's Palace, which is absolutely very, very cool. As you can see here, it comes with two figures, and actually I'll just show you the box really quickly. This is the box. It actually comes with the Han Solo and Carbonite, and that other character there, Reese. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced, sorry, but I came across these on eBay, and some of these sell for like 50 bucks. And then again, some of the times you can get these loose without the figures for 20 something plus shipping. However, this playset actually, kind of expand it right there. This playset here you can actually still get at Walmart. It's like $32, I think. And again, it comes with 2 figures, and the detail on the Jabba's palace is really cool. The this piece right here is just held on with a magnet, which is really kind of cool, and you can it moves up and down. There's a lever in the back that you can move it up and down, but it just hangs there, which is again really cool. You get a lot of the detail. Just absolutely fantastic playset. And you can either have it this way, or you can actually these side pieces come off. Get that, and you can do it this way. You can have it, you know, you can do it however you want. You can do it like that, have it that way. And it was just something when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I just, you know, would really like to add that. It would just, again, it'll tie in with some of my other displays that I have on the Star Wars wall. The detail is great. I could use some tempera paint on it to even bring out more of the detail. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not, because it just kind of looks good the way it is. And I'll just show you the back side of it. Whoa. You know, there's even some detail here on the back. I mean, which is really kind of cool. And then there's that lever there that you can move Han Solo up and down. And basically, I'm just going to hang it. I'm going to hang it on the wall, like right behind Jabba. So it's going to be like a backdrop, just to kind of tie everything in to it. And it'll also kind of go, because, you know, I have the 1/6 scale Sideshow Han and Carbonite, and I have Bosch, or Bosch, however it's pronounced. I'm also going to have the R2-D2 with his drinks, C-3PO, again, Fortuna, and the Fett, and everybody else. And so the wall, I want to, you know, kind of like I said in the beginning, as I wanted to have it more figure based. And then also I added the Millennium Falcon. It's going to be down below. And again, I'll show all this in the next video. We'll show the whole display. And then I'm going to talk about some other figures that I have coming. One that's pre-ordered, the Baby Yoda, the child that's from Sideshow. But you know what, the Baby Yoda is kind of weird, because I actually have the Hasbro one pre-ordered that's supposed to be coming out in April or May. And then I also just pre-ordered the other Baby Yoda, the one that moves and talks. That one's supposed to be coming out at the end of the year. So if you're a fan of Baby Yoda or the child, you should look into those, because I think once they come out, I think they're going to sell out. And again, that's going to be part of the wall too. You'll kind of see how I tie that in. And so yeah, so that's everything for this video. So, you know, we kind of did a little bit of reviews of the play set and the Uncle Miltons and the Jabba and Salacious Crumb, and you kind of know what things are kind of going on. And yeah, so I can't wait to show you the next one. Again, some of the stuff I kind of have to put the shelf up on the wall and then rearrange everything so everything looks just how I want it. And hopefully maybe by next week I can do that. Again, I don't really want to say, because we have the Back to the Future stuff. Again, the Back to the Future, I've been talking about that for weeks and weeks. The video for my new virtual pinball hopefully maybe be coming out this weekend, and if so, I'll do a separate video on that and then post a link down below so you can take a look at it. And yeah, because with that I'm working on, I've never had something that large shipped from another country. So right now I'm kind of dealing with the paperwork and what I have to pay for customs and everything to get that in as well. And you know, we'll be working on quite a few displays in the Back to the Future room. And then once the virtual pinball actually gets shipped, I think it's going to be like 4 weeks before it gets here as well. So got a lot of stuff to do in the meantime. So hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. If there's something that I left out or anything else, just, you know, feel free to ask. And I am just going to get back to work and decide exactly what I want to do next. I got so much stuff. So hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I shall talk to you really soon.